Once the Iowa caucuses wrap up, all eyes will be on New Hampshire as the state's Democratic primary gets underway. Senator Bernie Sanders is surging there while former Vice President Joe Biden and the other candidates trail.
Many of the top contenders, like Senator Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, have been forced to leave New Hampshire and other early states as President Trump's impeachment trial unfolds in Washington. So for more on all things New Hampshire, I want to bring in Neil. Do you pronounce your name Levesque? Neil Levesque?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I know somebody who pronounces it Levesque, which I've always argued with her.
Yes,
that's not the right
pronunciation.
Yeah. All right, Neil Levesque. He's the executive director of the New Hampshire Institute of Politics. So, Neil, Senator Bernie Sanders won big there during the 2016 primary. Can we expect him to pull off a victory in 2020?
Well, it's looking that way right now. I mean, the polling averages seem to indicate that Sanders has a lead here. Now, keep in mind that after Iowa, there's a lot of activity that happens here in that 1 week period or so. And so we have some major events going on. We have a debate that's going to take place. And so a lot of things go into flux. Now, if Sanders is stuck in Washington for impeachment, that might affect his overall vote come the New Hampshire primary.
So is New Hampshire make or break for Senator Sanders? I mean, if he takes Iowa, he's in the lead there, understanding that that's a caucus. And if he wins in New Hampshire, it's a pretty good leap ahead of the others.
It is, and I think that that's one reason why Bloomberg got into this race further on down the stream. Obviously, he's skipping the early states. I think that there's some concern amongst sort of the middle of the road Democrats that Sanders may have a little bit of a movement in both Iowa and New Hampshire. And so we'll see. You know, he does have a strong group of supporters here. They're very committed to him. But anything can happen between Iowa and New Hampshire.
Yeah, you know, the thing about New Hampshire and Iowa, too, is that there's always a significant number of voters who haven't decided yet. They really, really pay attention to the candidates before they make that final decision. And what we're hearing is in New Hampshire, undeclared voters, right, make up 42%. So that's a lot of the registered voters. So what's important to those people? What are they listening for? What do they hope to hear from the candidates?
Well, that is a huge number, you know. So if you think there's 290,000 Democrats and 410,000 undeclareds or independents, and they can go in and take a Democratic ballot, as you mentioned. So candidates need to be sort of catering to what they're thinking about and what the issues that matter to them. There's a certain segment, too, that, you know, are not necessarily anti-Trump Democrats or sort of far to the left Democrats, and that's going to affect this primary. That's something to definitely be looking for, and it's very hard to poll.
So a question that I have is, how are voters feeling about, even if Bernie Sanders wins in Iowa and he wins in New Hampshire, Vice President Biden lingering on? Because that is also a possibility. There are some, as you know, who have said even if Vice President Biden loses in Iowa and loses in New Hampshire, if he can just hold on until South Carolina, he may still have a chance. What are you hearing on the ground?
Well, I think that really puts in flux who is this nominee going to be. And Biden, you know, he hasn't had the stellar fundraising numbers that some of the other candidates have had. But I think when you're the former vice president of the United States and you lose the first two contests, that's not good for you on a whole different level. And remember, he's also going to face Bloomberg again. And Bloomberg sort of has said that he's in this race because he doesn't see that Biden is doing it. Biden's campaign has been very, very orchestrated here and hasn't had as many voter touches as some of the other candidates, as Sanders and Warren and Pete Buttigieg have. So I think that he's in a little bit of a difficult position. He's got some big endorsements. And I think the main thing Biden has going for him is that most New Hampshire Democrats believe that he has the best chance against Donald Trump. That's a very good thing to have in your corner going into this primary.
So this is really sort of interesting. Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard really haven't seen much of
Yeah.
her. She wasn't on the debate stage. She got into that weird sort of brouhaha with Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
But Steve Bannon, the president's former strategist, said that she's actually making inroads with some Trump supporters, and this is a quote, could make it tougher for President Trump to win states like Michigan and New Hampshire. Do people like her in New Hampshire? Is there appeal there?
Yes, she actually moved here to campaign. She has these pockets of support. You'll see a lot of sort of signs all over the place in New Hampshire for her, and a lot of interest around her. She's campaigning. Her message is very different than the other candidates. She's a veteran, and she's sort of campaigning with this sort of red, white, and blue service campaign theme, and it's very different. And I think Bannon might be onto something. However, I think it's a little bit of a tough uphill climb here for her to win New Hampshire, at least the way that the polling indicates right now. And I think it's probably more likely that another candidate will win this primary other than Tulsi. But she's really working hard.
It's interesting.
It is.
Neil Levesque, thank you very much.
Thanks, Neil.
Thank you.